And welcome everybody to our gospel discussion here on February 23rd. And we're going to be talking about the transfiguration of Jesus on the mountaintop. And also goes along with that, the transfiguration of you and I, expectations as disciples and followers of Jesus. And that's if we choose to follow Jesus, you know. You don't have to. No one's saying you have to, but I'm here to say, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Also is that I just want to share with you that, I'm alone. Some of you might be joining for a while. We used to have a team here doing it, but Pastor Scott, and I'm from New Hanover Evangelical Lutheran Church in fabulous Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania, or in the tiny hamlet of New Hanover. And we've been on this little piece of creation since it was deeded to us in 1700. Anyway, I'm here in 2022. Is that the year? So let's begin our study here. So we're joining Jesus on top of the mountain, and this is with his disciples, right? He takes a few disciples with him, and they got some great guests coming and guest appearances. So let's enjoy this story. About 8 days after Jesus said this, he took Peter, John, and James with him and went up onto a mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became as bright as a flash of lightning. Two men, Moses and Elijah, remember them from the past, appeared in glorious splendor talking with Jesus. Now, they've been supposedly dead now for 1,000 a year before this, right? They spoke about his departure. When he was about to bring to fulfillment at Jerusalem, Peter and his companions were very sleepy. But when they became fully awake, they saw his glory and the two men standing with him. As the men were leaving, Peter said to him, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what he was saying. While he was speaking, a cloud appeared and covered them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. A voice came from the cloud saying, "This is my son whom I have chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, they found that Jesus was alone. The disciples kept this to themselves and not tell to anyone at the time what they had seen. Said the reading. So we have in this message, and as we're walking with Jesus and with Luke, in the story of Luke, and as the apostle who wrote this in the gospel, and Luke's story says very much listen to him. And Jesus points this out earlier on the Sermon of the Plain, as it is with Luke. Some of you know his Sermon on the Mount. We covered this the last couple of weeks, but on the Sermon of the Plain, Luke said, "For those who listen," and that's how he said Jesus' words there, "for those who listen." And there we have God speaking to and from the clouds that listen to him. So again, we are told that disciples to listen to him. But even stranger, I find, in this discourse and in this, they have the Sermon on the Plain, they're off the plain, they're going on their way to Jerusalem, and now Jesus goes up to the mountain to pray. If you remember, right before the Sermon on the Plain, back in chapter 6, we have Jesus coming off the mountain after praying and bringing disciples with him. Here he takes disciples up to the mountain. So, little juxtaposition in here, So anyway, but I find interesting in this, listen to him or follow him. What is God telling us? And what exactly does it mean, And just as much of a juxtaposition, I think. I use that word because I didn't know what it meant when I went to seminary. And ever since 2010, I've been using it all the time. So look it up. Make a comment. So anyway, two-sided, opposite, juxtaposition, change. So up the mountain, go back down the mountain with disciples. Don't tell anybody. So what we have here is that a party, I think, at the top, and I find this interesting. They're up there. Peter gets all excited, and who wouldn't? His heroes, our heroes of the Bible, Moses and Elijah, they're there. They've been dead for thousands of years. Elijah went up in a chariot, and all of a sudden, he's here. The last time that we know, he got wound up in a windstorm and went up into the sky in a chariot. So, and remember about John the Baptist and the people who saying who he is. Is he Elijah? And Jesus? And, what is the prophets? And the prophets had gone before him. And, of course, here is Moses. And you have Peter must have been astounded. And he wants to build tabernacles, or it says shelters in this translation. We used the New International Translation. And so Peter wants to hang out. Let's build little tabernacles. Let's just hang out, have our feast. Of course, Jesus will provide, right? Create, maybe a little wine out of the water that's nearby a spring. We'll have a great party. But anyway, we have this thing. And does that speak to us a lot? Sometimes we love to go to worship or to special events at church, and it's like, hey, party time. We wear our best. We come on in. I remember the days when I was young. The women wore hats, the men all wore suits. At the one church that I was an intern at, they wore white gloves, the ushers did, and they had tails, the tuxedo with tails, and that wasn't that long ago. I mean, we say, oh, that's ancient history. I don't think so, but I mean, it's just amazing how we have transfigured ourselves for church as well, right? I don't wear my robe and my collar anymore, and only for special occasions. So I transfigure myself, and for high holy days and Easter and for funerals and for special days. And, but we find ourselves transfigured ourselves. Jesus doesn't last in a party. It's all great to worship God, to be in the cloud, so to speak. But then we have this challenge to come off the mountain. Jesus said, let's get back to the people who need us. And I think that's where we find ourselves today, a lot of times. In that we want to party, want to have fun at worship, want to sing our songs. We want to see the people we love. And is church over at that point? Is it on the top of the mountain point? Or is it the other 170 some hours a week when we go down, back down in the valley, where the people are that need us the most? So that's where I find myself. So are we truly? Are we ready to go with Jesus? Or we just basically want to meet him at the mountaintop? And so until next week, I'd be interested in hearing your responses and comments on whether or not and how you view that. What does this mean to you? So you can respond here on Facebook or on YouTube or send me something at pastor@newhanoverlutheran.org if you want to send it privately, and or give me a call, 610-326-1335. I'm extension 102. So you can reach out and call me anytime too to ask me questions or just discuss what we've uncovered here. So anyway, until next week, I look forward to seeing you all again, and I hope you have your times up on the mountain and you have a great time in worship. Wear your hat, wear your best suit, transfigure yourself, and then maybe throw on your scrubs a little bit and come down in the valley and help out and follow Jesus. Anyway, take care and peace. God bless you all, and go get them until I see you next week.